Hi everybody. It's kind of dark in here, sorry. Also have a hat on, so my face is kind of shadowed. But hello, it is Kathryn, Conscious Creatrix, Elevated Consciousness Coach, 5D Visionary. Giving a little Ascension update today that I feel is very, very timely. I know I'm feeling it, and I'm feeling into the collective quite a bit and feeling it there. I know that this is something for me to work on right now, and so maybe you guys are feeling it too. I'm talking about anger. I'm talking about feeling like you're being backed into a corner and you just feel irritated and like you just want to smack people. No matter how, spiritually woke or evolved you might think you are, we can still have these feelings from time to time of feeling angry, feeling like really confined in a way where you're almost feeling like you're backed into a corner. You're not allowed to be yourself. You're judging yourself because you want to express anger, but you're like, but that's not what I'm supposed to do if I'm this evolved being. So we got a lot of conflict going on internally. Anyone feeling me? I assume you're here because this headline or this header of this video caught your attention. You're like, that's me. So I feel you. I feel it. Hi, Tammy. Hi, whoever's here. Charlotte's here. Jen. Hi, Jen Niesner. Why are you feeling so angry all the time? And like you're being backed into a corner. So I'm just going to say it. To ascend is to be pissed off. It's true. To ascend is to be pissed off. For a lot of different reasons. Because when we ascend, when we elevate in our consciousness, in other words, when we are accessing higher frequency translations of consciousness, we tend to see or look at or judge where we were before as like, really? I languished there for that long, and that was my MO. That was my general operating procedure for my whole life, or most of my life. Like, I can't believe how in the dark I was. And we tend to judge ourselves from a place of ego, and then we get angry when not only we see that we were that person, but then we see other people doing it, and then we judge even more. And then we get mad at ourselves for being in judgment, and we're like, but I'm ascending, I'm spiritually woke, I'm not supposed to be judging people. And then we just get mad at ourselves again. And meanwhile, the irritation just builds. The irritation, the anger just kind of builds. And this is kind of a reminder that, hey, we're all going through this. We are all going through this process of awakening. We are all going through this process of spiritual evolution. With this is a huge learning curve. And we have to, I don't want to say have to, but it really makes a lot more sense. And this process can be smoother and more graceful if we give ourselves a little more wiggle room with the fact that, hey, we're going through this process as a human being that feels all the feels. And when we get into a place where we suppress all the feels, not only do we get more irritated, but we also are inviting our body to take this suppressed energy on, and suppressed anger develops in inflammation. And we may have this suppressed anger for a lot of different reasons. The one I said at the beginning here, but also because, where we might be kind of spiritually bypassing through this process of ascending, we think that, we're supposed to be more sweet and kind and compassionate. Yes, but not to the detriment of our own feelings, not to the detriment of suppressing down what we really want to feel, what we really need to release and move through to make way for more authentic compassion. Instead of that fake compassion of, but I'm supposed to be a good person. I'm supposed to be spiritually awakened. I'm not supposed to feel these feelings. Anybody who's telling you that as part of this awakening process, this spiritual evolution and this journey that we're on, that it's not okay to be angry, it's not okay to lash out. We're just going to have those moments. And I'm not saying go and do that and unload on someone. That's not what I'm saying. But you're going to feel these feels even more so. And when you pretend they're not there, you're bringing on a whole new host of problems that you now have to sift through. And one of those is feeling like you're backed into a corner. And the only reason you feel backed into a corner is because you're jamming your own frequency. That's something that's coming up. I'm saying that all day today because a lot of us are jamming our own frequency. Hi, Shoshana. Meaning we're not allowing ourselves to feel the feels. We're not releasing what needs to go. We're not moving through in a sense of presence, in a sense of awareness, what it is that we're feeling and why it's there. We're not always going to get deeper answers about, why this emotional imprint is wreaking such havoc with us. What's more important is to be really present with it while it's happening. And to take that responsibility for how we are responding to life, how we're responding to our outside environment. You can feel triggered by everything lately, and if you're like me, you are. But I was in the shower yesterday, where I do most of my thinking and most of my singing too. But I was in the shower yesterday and I was thinking, I really want to smack people right now. I just really, really, really want to smack people. And I was like, why is that? And instead of saying, oh, no, you're not supposed to feel that way. Instead of doing that to myself, what I was doing was saying, okay, when I'm encountering this person that I want to smack, what am I feeling? What's the anger there? And why is the anger there? What's pushing forward the anger? And what it really came down to for me was just taking a couple beats and being with it and being very present, taking full responsibility for how I was responding to people in my everyday environment. And just sitting with it for a second and saying, oh, you know why? Because I'm in a place of judgment. I feel like this person should be further along and they shouldn't be doing this. That person shouldn't be doing that. Why? Why? And why was I so invested in what that person should be or should not be doing? They're on their own timeline. They're on their own process of maybe healing or releasing and going through things that I don't even know about. So how can I possibly be in a place where I can judge that person? And so that was easier for me to just release that, take a breath and let that go. And then move into a place where I could allow more compassion. There was literally more of an energetic void then for more compassion and kindness to move in. Compassion and kindness and forgiveness for myself, for having those feelings, for being human and having a very human moment. And also being in a place where I could be compassionate for, hey, I don't know what's going on in this person's life. And I don't need to. But I can just understand they're going through their own journey too. And I can just send compassion to that instead. And then I noticed as somehow, sometimes you let go and release an emotion like that, you realize that your shoulders are up near your ears or your jaw is tight. And as soon as I let go of those emotions, as soon as I moved through them in real time and sat with them and was present with them and then released it, I just felt my body just kind of like a wave of relaxation come into my body. And I was going through this little game with myself yesterday and this morning as well, as I was encountering people who were just, I felt like, you're triggering me. And when you say something like that, it's like the blame is on them, right? You are triggering me. You are affecting me. And that removes the responsibility from ourselves to get present with what we're feeling and to honor what we're feeling. It doesn't matter that that person, that event, that situation is triggering you, because what that person is doing has nothing to do with your life. Your response to that person, that event, that situation has everything to do with your life, your reality, your emotional imprint. And what you're releasing and accepting or suppressing. Does that make sense? So the anger is always an invitation to release stuck energy. Okay? You're gonna be pissed off on this ascension journey. Because as we're kind of shedding more layers of the unawakened human aspect, and we're moving through our evolution, this ascension evolution of becoming more of a divine human, you're going to be pissed off because you're going to be in a different vantage point where you're going to see people who are still resonating at the frequency of maybe unevolved human, of, you know, someone who's in their anger, in their resentment, in their blame, and they can't extricate themselves for that. This is only and ever an invitation for us to be more compassionate. But we can't be in that place if we're holding on to that same level of anger, that same level of irritation and frustration. Remember, suppressed anger often shows up as inflammation. So if you're having any kind of inflammatory response right now, maybe you're having migraines, you know, maybe you're having tension in your body, maybe your shoulder is flaring up, maybe your lower back is flaring up, maybe you've got colitis, cystitis, vaginitis, dermatitis, any other kind of itis. That's inflammation. It's usually unsuppressed anger. That's the extreme of it. You know, we can also feel those itises, that inflammation from unchecked resentment and unchecked blame, shame, guilt even, will often result in inflammation. But in its most angry state, we've got flare-ups in the skin, or we've got red rashes, we've got crippling migraines. You know, your shoulder is so bad that you can't even move it. Kidney stones, yeah, absolutely. And anything that has to do with the liver as well, and the kidneys. And there's also something that, you know, women especially have a really fun time with, is that there is that stigma that if we are expressing our anger as women, we're bitchy. Or we're close to our period, right? Or we're on our period, whatever that is. You know, we have that stigma, and so we often feel like to kind of come full circle with that, or to kind of do the reverse spin on that, is to be overly complacent, conciliatory, people-pleasing, you know, to make other people uncomfortable, because we don't want our anger to make someone else feel uncomfortable. And I know as I'm saying this in real time, some of you are feeling this kind of lump right here. Yeah, I have it too. You know, that we sometimes will be overly accommodating to mask our own anger. And we think that, well, maybe in some weird way, we think we'll offset our anger if we're overly conciliatory, over accommodating for someone else, people pleasing, to make them feel better. And that's somehow going to make us feel better. We got to stop doing that, okay? Because there are so many opportunities for us as women to be the highest and best examples for other women, okay? And part of that is sending a message, being a visual example, that it is okay to express old, stuck energy, even if that comes off as angry. It doesn't mean that we have free license to unload on other people. But we can say, I am angry about this. It doesn't mean you lash out at somebody and not give anybody a reason why and just let loose and unload on somebody. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about releasing the stuck energy when you feel angry. That is spiritual evolution. To feel like you are okay and you are free to be yourself. This is part of the divine feminine unfolding too, is it's kind of this reclaiming of all of our emotions. Not just the reclaiming of the fuzzy feely emotions of being a woman, but all of the emotions of being a woman. Anger can be creative energy too if it's used constructively, okay? But if it sits there as an unchecked, unresolved, unreleased emotion, it is only going to stagnate within you and have the reverse effect. It puts you more into survival mode, and your creativity gets siphoned off. So, and goes into something really not so fun, like inflammation. So, allow yourself to feel and express your anger. And that doesn't always mean expressing it in mixed company. Sometimes you need to go and just go for a run. I haven't gone for a run in a really long time, but yesterday I was like, I'm just going to go for a run. I'm going to put on my old punk rock music and I'm going to run for a couple miles. And then I felt fine after. And as I was going through the run, I wasn't suppressing the anger. I was like, this is gone. This is why I'm feeling this way. I don't need to do this anymore. And I collapsed a lot of timelines around judgment and anger while I was doing that. And then, sometimes you just need to punch a pillow, or sometimes you need to go, hey, springtime is coming, spring cleaning. Maybe take some of your rugs outside, your hardy rugs, and go beat them with a baseball bat. Beat all the dust off. And you're being proactive, let's just say, with your anger. But you're allowing yourself to be set free. You're allowing yourself to experience it and move through it. Because everything about the ascension process is suppressing nothing and experiencing everything. Allowing yourself to move through it and gleaning the lessons as you move through it. And the only way you can do that is to be present with it. So anywhere you are pretending not to know something about yourself, when you feel the anger, just say to yourself, I'm not going to pretend not to know this. Self-deception is not evolved. Self-denial is not evolved. Those are not in alignment with my true divine human evolution process. So what is this anger showing me? What's beneath that? Because there's always something beneath it. Just allowing yourself that downtime to glean that information. Be kind with yourself and loving and accepting of whatever comes in and saying, okay, I own that. And now what am I going to do with it? How am I going to release it? How can I collapse this timeline of that? How can I let this go? How can I express this anger in a healthy way? Some of you that might mean journaling. Some of you that might mean, belting out your favorite songs in the kitchen while you're making yourself a sandwich. It could be any way. There are so many different healthy ways to express your anger. I encourage you to do that. And when you do that, you open up so much more of your intuition. You open up so much more of your creativity. You open up so much more of your imagination when you do that. And not only that, like I mentioned before, you feel that physical shift in the body, of the body releasing. Because the body is holding the density of that emotion, which will, of course, result in inflammation or something else kind of gnarly, but also tight and tense muscles. Tightness, density in the body. Tension in the jaw, in the temples, in the top of the head even. So take a deep breath with me here and just release. And let's just do this together. I am ready to know, see, hear, or feel the anger and the message underneath the anger. I can release that. I intend to release that in the highest and best way. Take a deep breath. Just breathe out. Know that you are loved, that you are supported. You are never alone in this process of ascension. You are always being looked after. You are always being guided. And in those moments where we feel like we're not, that's only an invitation for you to call in your spirit team. Say, hey, you know what, guys? I need help. Understand a lot of your spirit guides and very ascended beings or entities have never been incarnate. They've never been in a body. So until you tell them what's going on, they have no idea what you're suffering with or struggling with. And you can say something simple like, help me to feel less intense in my body. Help me to feel the anger of this as a less intense imprint on my body. Help me to move through this anger without going into physical crisis. And then allow yourself and surrender the process of receiving help, okay? But sometimes your guides, they don't know. They've never been in a body. They don't know how dense this can be and how heavy this stuff can feel for you. So sometimes, you know, you really have to embrace the fact that help comes when you ask for it. Hi, Steph. So that is my message for you today. I hope that this, for those of you who tuned in, that this allowed a breath of fresh air to come into your energy today. A place that you know that you can shift out of this. You're not stuck. It's just a thing. It's going to move through if you allow that, if you surrender to that. So love and peace to you all. Bye-bye.